Me. What's going on, guys?
We're gonna start with that.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Blade Dragons podcast. I'm Elliot.
And I'm Alex.
And today, you know the drill. You have been here. You have watched our videos, our podcast, followed us on all of our social medias. They're always in the link in the description. They're like on screen right now, so you should do something about that if you somehow found this channel without knowing who we are. But we got some big news today. A lot of product talk. Anime was pretty good. The storyline is progressing. And before we get into this video, we actually got a comment.
We did?
We did. We
No
got a
way.
comment. It's not on our newest podcast episode, but it's a comment. There we go. We got Blade Bay X.
Let's go, Blade.
Stumbled across our channel and was like, yeah, no, I finally found this. I'm like, well, welcome. It's good to have you, man. There you go. Thanks for leaving the comment. It's good. It's good.
Let's go. Oh, I love Blade. Blade's awesome.
He's a good lad.
Awesome. Blade Bay, thank you for checking out our podcast. It does mean a lot to us. Very happy.
If you guys comment, you will get shout out. We will respond to your comment live on the next episode. So if you need some motivation to actually interact with us, there you go.
Exactly.
But without further ado, episode 18 of the anime is all yours, Alex.
All right, so this episode was it was interesting. It wasn't bad. Probably about the same as last couple episodes, maybe a little bit better. We got a lot more insight into Team Phalanx and Takumi in specific, which I actually kind of appreciate. We did get some battles, and as per usual, they kind of sucked. They weren't really that great in general. You kind of just knew what was going to happen. It was pretty obvious, and we were hoping for one outcome, which sadly we didn't get once again. But that's all right, because at the end of the day, if we look past all of the normal negative stuff that we usually rant about, this episode was kind of endearing, kind of heartwarming, and it was some good development for a character that sort of hasn't really shown up at all since his debut in the manga. So it's nice to see that the anime is utilizing its cast much more efficiently. So getting right into the plot points, we start out with Takumi Ishiyama working at the noodle restaurant who sponsors him, which is actually kind of interesting that he works there. We get explained in a flashback that because Takumi and Team Phalanx lost and all that good jazz to Kamen and his team twice, they were, taken out of the league, and there was not really a sponsorship option for them. And then their sponsor manager or whatever came to them and said, you know what, I got you in. So they do end up exiting, but it's interesting to see that Takumi and his teammates are just kind of like, man, what are we doing making noodles for people? We're professional bladers. We should be Beyblading. And then they do get their chance and they get out of the noodle restaurant. But I thought it was pretty nice to see a more like in-depth look at Takumi's life post losing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that they had a little more backstory. That in the previous episodes we've found that they struggle with the relationship of their sponsor. And that there's been some shady activity there, that they're just trying to boost their sales, their ratings. Doesn't matter who the blader is or what they actually do for the sponsored company, that it's just kind of all for money, and they don't really care about the bladers. And so now if we get a little perspective of the other side of the bladers, that they actually really enjoy being professional bladers, and it's kind of disappointing that they got such a bad sponsor that doesn't actually want to have them grow as bladers. They're just kind of there to make them money.
Yeah, it's certainly a shame that we have to see Team Phalanx go through that, because they do seem like they're at their core decent guys. I mean, yeah, Takumi's always sort of had a very strict view of Beyblading and all that, but I think after losing to Kamen twice, it's like Chompy's not really a thing anymore, and he's just kind of accepted that he's got to either grow, but his sponsor's like, nope, no battles unless you can actually win. So they do get Phoenix Feather, and they are able to get back into the league, and they get their sponsor and all that. And it's pretty interesting, seeing that this is like what happens when you get booted out of the league. It's like you can lose your sponsor, you don't get to Beyblade period anymore. So, but the sponsor of the Noodle franchise or brand or whatever that they were sponsored by before comes back and is like, hey, we're going to sponsor you, except he didn't say it as nicely as I did. He was kind of a butthole about it, as he is. But yeah, that was, that sort of leads us into the episode. And of course, we start at Taisho, and apparently Bird took a poop, and Multi had to say something about it. I mean, back in, like, what was it, episode 6 or 7, we saw someone outside, I think it was Multi or Maiden, like, sweeping off the sidewalk, and we mentioned that it was Bird's poop. It came full circle. Somehow it came full circle, just like the Greece Stadium.
Imitating Bud during the poop was created for speed. If you want the key to time travel, ripping through the space-time continuum, just like the Flash, running back in time. It's all about the budding poop.
Pretty much, it's all about budding that poop, getting it all out. We're gonna move on before this gets any weirder. So we get we get some images here. We get some imagery of the Phoenix Wing, and they sort of show very rudimentally here. They later on they showed stats, but we get the idea that Phoenix Feather is the fastest Beyblade, and then Drawn Sword is next, and then Drawn Dagger is after that. Which I guess for whatever reason they're not factoring Shark Edge in here somewhere. Okay, that's nice. Or Strike Hawk, that would have been cool. It's like, I don't know, like Drawn's here, and then Shark Edge, and then Strike Hawk, and then Dagger in the back or whatever. But oh well.
And they're filler Beyblades. They don't matter. Common doesn't own Shark Edge.
But Shark Edge is owned by Maiden. We got a random booster for it. That's not filler.
Exactly.
Oh no! But once again, we're sort of seeing that it is absolutely the fastest that everyone else knows of, because if you have been following this anime with us and the products, we know that Phoenix Wing, that in the anime, Burn has not showed off yet. Phoenix Wing is actually the fastest Beyblade, because it's got that heavy blade, it's got the gear flat tip, and it uses that to its advantage, and it's arguably much more dangerous than Phoenix Feather. So that'll be interesting to see. We're definitely not seeing it anytime soon, and we'll definitely get back into that later. But next up, one of them arrives, a Phoenix Feather arrives at Taisho Sushi. Oh, excuse me. And so Bird is kind of interested in using it, but of course Multi is like, oh, so you're just gonna use this Beyblade that some dude is giving out for free when I took the time to create you an entirely new Beyblade, if you forgot? Yeah, that's not happening. And then she like drags him away to Bay battle him and test Hell's Chain against against Phoenix Feather to like train him or something. Which we didn't actually see any like training montage, which was kind of weird. I think we kind of jumped from just the notion of like actually recording like data or whatever on Phoenix Feather to just heading over to the stadium, because we don't really see anything like culminating after this. We just go from
It was one thing that we were excited to see, because we saw what Bird did with Hina, his fan, when he came across Phoenix Feather, and it was pretty interesting that it was like a completely different emotion. Like, he wasn't emotional at all seeing it in person, studying it, but when it was out in public and other people had it in their hand, he was like done for. Like he didn't want anything to do with it. But when Multi was holding it, and it's like, I'm gonna fight you with it. He's just like, oh come on, I don't actually want to train. Pretty much, like it wasn't that he was like scared of the Beyblade anymore. He was just scared of Multi. And I was like, well, I get the Beyblade is dangerous because they say if any professional gets the hand on it, that they will be in big trouble. Because it's just like an unlocked potential that you start halfway up the ladder. And so it's like, well, if any professional bladers get their hands on it, they could end up dethroning somebody, and we could get into what eventually happens there. But it was just funny that they didn't show us any training, and Bird was just okay with it after last episode.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, now that you mention it, that kind of jump there from Bird, like seeing the world turn blue and the cat like terrorizing with Phoenix Feather, and now he's just like, oh, so maybe if I use it, and the Multi just foot down. No, you're not using it. I made you obey. You better use that one before you move on to anything else. Actually, Multi's giving him two bays. Come to think of it, which something that we'll delve into a little more later when we actually get to the battle section is we're not going to talk about Bird. We're going to acknowledge that he sucks when we need to, and then we're just going to move on to more positive stuff with this. So if there's stuff that we miss, in particular about Bird, that's just because we're moving on from it. We're not going to delve into the negativity as much as we have been for the in previous episodes. But moving on from that, so Bird and Multi, we don't really get to see any training or whatever, but Team Phalanx gets back in the game, and they end up fighting Persona again, which is, I guess, all right. And we also get the manager here who comes back and is like, hey, so we're sponsoring you guys again because our sales have been skyrocketing, so we can allow you guys to go in Beyblade battle again. And apparently it was to the success of these ladies, and I don't know if that's just us getting lost in translation here, or if apparently they drove sales up enough in order to get things going, because it seems like with in terms of like pronouns and addressing with gender, it seems like for between the YouTube auto subs, it flip-flops a lot of things. So it's like when someone is talking about themselves, they'll be talking about like they'll be saying like you, or like they'll be it'll sound like they're referring to someone else, but then when they're talking about someone else, they refer to it as like I and themselves, and then like they swap genders apparently, which we've had plenty of transgender Multi jokes throughout. But so maybe I'm assuming, I don't know, maybe there are some ladies that were driving the sales up for whatever, and I would like to interpret it until I see the actual sub version that Takumi and his team actually worked hard enough to drive sales up and then get sponsored. So maybe that's the case, maybe not. We'll find out one way or another. But they're back in the game, and they get up to battle Team Persona again. And it's like, we kind of noticed, why does Team Phalanx only really ever battle Team Persona? All right, didn't they battle Zuganic?
Yeah, like the filler to tease the battle between Persona and Zuganic. Like we just saw him get clapped by King, and then they went into the episode or something.
It was like so long ago.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is episode 18 of the anime. We're getting close to halfway through now. I think we're kind of beyond saying early days at this point. We're like deep enough into the anime, because it's only 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 4, about 6-7 episodes until we're at that halfway point. So it's very
When did the anime release? Was that,
I think it was October,
August or November? What, that's 3.5 months. Something
like that.
Type into a calculator. 4.5 months. Yeah.
Because the anime started airing October, and then we got like that first trailer that the anime was coming out in like early September, I want to say it was.
Mm-hmm.
That was before I even had my X Beyblades. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
How far we've come.
It's going to be interesting because everyone's already Everything's up in the air. We don't know what the heck's about to happen with this series coming on March. Um, Everything's up in the air. Everything is crazy. We don't know. We the last 3 months were predictable, but now we're getting into the choppy waters where Hasbro's going to release a new version of the bays are going to release. And then once Hasbro releases, it could in theory be time for season 2 already. And, now it's just getting in that murky water where we're like, what is about to happen? Everything is colliding at different times, and we're wondering how they're going to steer the ship around and get us back on course to all worldwide be together and enjoy this series again. So it'll be fun to see what happens in the next couple months with the products, but I guess we're almost to that halfway point of the anime releasing. We're almost to 5 months now, and we'll see 52 episodes. Hopefully that they are able to keep the quality really high for the next seasons.
Yeah, I mean, Burst was similar, I think, with the season. A lot of people say like first season was all right, but then it really kicked up on season 2. Burst did fall off, but I think that's a lot in part due to the just general power creep that Beyblade has really seen, especially with Metal Fight and Burst had really bad power creeps towards its end. So we're hoping that X takes more of an approach to Plastic Gen where there's not as much power creep as it was. So as long as we don't get like a new HMS change up that just completely flip-flops the entire formula, we should be good for Beyblade X for a good 5 seasons, hopefully. I think that's a good enough time for Beyblade X to flourish and lay down its seeds and everything. But pretty interesting. So one thing that did happen in the episode that was very interesting was Taisho apparently had some kind of beef, or well, obviously competition with the noodle shop owner. You got noodles and you got sushi. Very different. It makes sense that they would be competing. So this episode kind of had a second layer of plot that was built onto it. We get a very long scene of Maiden and Taisho confronting the noodle shop guy who sponsors Phalanx, and they sort of got heated about it. And Taisho was very animated, and Maiden was just kind of there, not happy with it, but she didn't really say much. And I think the auto subs kind of let us down at that part, but it seemed like the general idea was them, beefing back and forth about the sponsorships, and then the manager talking about Phoenix Wing and how his team is going to wipe the floor with Persona, which, as we'll see, if you can guess what happens, we'll reveal what happens when we get there. But it sort of sets us up, and we get ready for it. So one thing that we did notice was that this episode was like the first time that we saw DJ AI show up in like a hot minute. Like DJ AI has kind of just not been there for a while, and now he is, or prominently. It's like normally when DJ shows up, he starts up with "What's up, everybody," and then he gets we get a lot of English from him throughout, but it's usually like he's there for like a good three half an episode to 3/4, and we haven't seen that at all for a long time, and we kind of missed him a bit. We kind of missed DJ AI.
Yeah, it was funny. We were like, oh yeah, I guess now that you mention it, it has been a while that it was most of the battles in the previous episodes didn't take place in the actual competitive scene. That they were at Burns' facility, or I don't even remember the previous freaking battles or episodes. It's been a while, but
all over the place, because we were at Taisho's, and then we were at the supermarket, and then we were at the
alley.
The alley, and then we were at the museum, and we were at the gym, which that was a great episode. That's still my favorite. That gym episode, it was so funny. They did a good job with that one. As stupid as it was, we love stupidity here, but yeah, it's like DJ has just kind of been gone for a while, and kind of sucks, but at least we got him back now. So I do kind of miss that about it. It's like every episode of Metal Fight, or not No, definitely not every episode, but there was usually, some kind of like big battle that was happening. There was like usually some kind of tournament that went down, which, I kind of missed that. Like, there's always like a big event going on in like, the worlds of Beyblade. It's like in Plastic Gen, there was like all, the world tournaments that were always happening, if not like the local tournaments. In Metal Fight, there was always a tournament for no reason that was happening. And in Burst, I can't say for sure, but in season 1 they had like the whole thing, and then I think season 2 was World Championships Part 1 or whatever. Um, so it was kind of weird not having DJ or Ichigo even show up for just so long, and I think that's kind of what makes the pacing feel weird, is that there are battles that happen, but none of them are really officiated all that often. And it seems like in this season, there's really no reason for these like, casual battles to not be officiated by DJ AI, because DJ AI is an AI. So, I mean, he could, considering the world that they live in Beyblade X, and how like they got the 4X all over the place and everything, it's like you would think that DJ AI would just be able to like split or jump around between everywhere and not just be locked in the X Tower.
Because I think we've seen Ichigo. Wasn't she at the zoo? Or am I misremembering that? Wasn't she? Didn't Zuganic and someone do something at the zoo? Or am I going crazy? I don't know.
I mean, they had the Phoenix Feather thing at the zoo. I don't think she was at the zoo. I think I know she interviewed Bird after the Zuganic battle, and I don't think Ichigo's ever been outside anywhere.
No, I guess not. That was the training room with the lightning, and then, yeah, I guess she hasn't left really either.
Yeah, but she goes in more places, because she goes to like throughout the lobbies and the like all over the X Towers. Like DJ AI is only at like the big stadium areas. He's only at like the one that's like right under the X Tower where they did like the prelims and everything, and then he's like in the main stadium and all that. Which actually, I kind of wonder, where is the main stadium of Beyblade X located? Because it's not like each floor has its own stadium and wings and all that. It's obviously just one central stadium that they're using. And the question is, where in the building? Is it the middle, maybe, of the tower?
It's a good question. We've had so many questions about the makeup of this tower, and something tells me we're never gonna figure out how this building even exists.
Yeah, how the elevators work. Is it just like a? I guess no. They would really They would have like prominence on like a giant, like, moving walkway or a series of escalators between the floors. I mean, I guess they could do escalators between the floors instead of elevators, but
That's a lot of money.
the X Tower. The more you think about it, just the more frustrating it gets to try and like figure out with logic. It just doesn't work. And yeah, we're gonna move on before we get wrapped up in this again. But it's nice to see DJ back. Kind of miss him a bit. So we get started with the battles and everything, and right away it's Bird versus whoever. I don't know what their names are. They don't really ever focus on anyone except talking. It's like they acknowledge his teammates exist, but they don't really ever go out of their way to like introduce them, which kind of sucks, because it's like every other anime did that. Burst, I'm pretty sure, did that. It's like, you see all these characters and they have names and people know who they are, and they can like, put up a picture and be like, oh, that's this person. Metal Fight did that. Plastic Gen did that. And it's weird that they don't do that at all in this one, which kind of wacky.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that they switch up from previous generations, and there's things that they include that we didn't expect, and it just feels weird that they're selecting different things to bring up. It's like, well, if you didn't have these 3 episodes of filler, we could have had an actual storyline or a plot between these 2 characters. But since you want to put bunny ears on Bird and have him go make a campfire, we lose out on half the storyline because it's just fucking filler, and it doesn't actually portray to any linear progression in the anime.
Yeah, it's all just kind of thrown together, which, we've been saying that it's felt like that since the beginning, and it's starting to become more prominent now, but either way. We get Bird, who literally just gets one-shotted. Like, he launches... he, like, maybe touches the stadium once, either that or just gets caught in midair. Phoenix
Yeah,
Feather just shows up and smacks the absolute crap out of him and throws him out of the stadium. And it felt a lot more congruent with the manga, which I don't know how to feel about that, but either way, we were just like, oh well, what do you expect? It's Bird. And it's
yeah,
like, for him being the main character, you know, why does he suck so bad? So, it's a
yeah.
question we're never getting an answer to.
It was. I was thinking about that. I was like, huh, the fastest Beyblade alive. I would love if they launched the Beyblade and it just like teleports and like knocks them out of the ring like as soon as it falls off their launcher. It doesn't even give them a chance to reach the stadium.
It would just
It's
be
just
like
like,
Aquario from Metal Fight, where it like zips around without being seen, or Striker does that too. That'd be kind of
yeah, it's
cool.
just it goes chunk, teleports, just knocks them off the launcher. It's like, what the heck?
I kind of missed that from Metal Fight. I kind of missed how they had like a couple of the Beyblades with the gimmick where it could like swiftly dodge and then it would look like it disappeared. That was kind of cool. I kind of missed the
Mm-hmm.
cinematic feel of Beyblade from Plastic Gen and Metal Fight. Oh, the 2000s, how much we love them. But I don't think I switched the whatever. Anyway, so now we get the multi versus other I almost said Blade Dragon, other Phalanx member. Yeah, me and Elliot are actually Team Phalanx, but we get a battle between Night Lance and Phoenix Feather, and I think this is the second time we've ever seen Night Lance battle. I don't recall Night Lance having another battle against anyone because
She went up against Maiden,
yep, and then when it
and
came
then maybe
to
maybe someone with Zuganic. I don't know, or was it was Stamina versus Stamina, wasn't it? When it was Viper
yep,
versus Wizard, I'm pretty sure.
yep, she did the stamina ditto because she could have used an attack type like he was pressuring her to, which I kind of wish Multi had an attack type. That'd be dope. But either way, um, she pulled out Wizard Arrow for that battle, and then she used Wizard against uh, Zanamos in the temple and all that, and then I think she either used Night Lance or no, sorry, Night Shield in like every other casual battle that she did. It's like Wizard and Knight have been or Wizard and Shield have been used so frequently, but we haven't seen Lance come out, which is kind of weird. But now that I think about it, it sort of feels like they're making Lance sort of like that. That's like the really strong side of Multi, where she's able to like just go crazy with it. So maybe that's for the better that she only uses Night Lance every so often. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but she does end up winning. Now, granted, she wins, but she's not particularly satisfied with her win because she almost lost. She and the other dude almost got knocked. They almost knocked each other out of the stadium, and it was pretty crazy to see that. But she did come back, and she ended up doing like a dive attack and used Raining Lance, and then I was able to nearly knock out. It was a spin finish on Phoenix there, but it does prove how capable Multi is. Even she's definitely got the brains for the game, whereas Common brings the power, Bird brings nothing, um, Multi brings the brains.
Yeah, that it's nice to see that her character is at least staying true. Um, that she's always the witty, powerful blader that is one step ahead, and gives the other teammates advice. That we saw that once again. Um, that she actually gives Common advice. She's like, I almost messed up there. I could have done better, but I underestimated them. You better take this a little more seriously, or else this could go down bad for you. And it's always cool that Professor Malty just lurks in the shadows and maintains her cool head in any circumstance so far.
Yep. Yeah, it's always it's nice to see Multi be very consistent with her character. Where Common sort of brings, yeah, like Common brings that unpredictability and all that raw power to the game, and Multi brings a very consistent personality and a lot of method. She's very particular about things. Common just loves battling, but she likes to be methodical with it. And then Bird is just he just exists to be stupid, which kind of sucks. But oh well. Either way, moving on. If Streamlabs will behave, there we go. We get that. And the battle between Multi and Phoenix was actually kind of decent. It really did show off Multi's brains over Brawn. We get Common and Takumi, and of course Takumi starts out using Phoenix Feather, which pretty obvious that it was going to happen. And we get to see sort of the dynamic between them now. What's really interesting about this is that Common immediately goes for an extreme dash, and Phoenix Feather is so fast that Common actually misses. Now, it's not particularly... We weren't entirely sure if that was on purpose, or if that was actually Common, making a mistake there. But he misses, he comes around for a second chance, and then I think... Feather hits the X line, does an extreme dash, and I think it was called Burning Avalanche, and then they clash and they both knock each other out, and then that happens a few more times and they just keep tying. And then eventually we get to probably the best part of the episode, which is where Taisho comes in and just sort of says like, hey, and we get a little bit of it here. Taisho's like, hey, I've been in here for the past 25 years. I've seen a lot of bladers coming and going, and I've seen you as well. You came in 10 years ago and whatnot, and you kind of suck, but you built it up. You're very strict about Beyblade. You're this dude, and you've got this personality. I don't know, it's not characteristic of you to be, switching up just because you're told to, or just because there's, you keep losing. It's like you should stick true to who you are. And we've seen this in like every gen of Beyblade, I'm pretty sure, but it's very interesting that they're doing it here to someone that's not a main character. And I actually kind of like that they're delving into Takumi and Team Phalanx as much as they are, because, the manga doesn't care about them at all. We saw them like once, and then that was it. Whereas they actually get developed, and, they sort of go through their own arc. Honestly, Team Phalanx's story is more interesting to me than the than anyone else's. Like, they're more interesting than Multi and Common and Team Persona and all that. Like, I'm actually kind of rooting for Team Phalanx a little more than anyone else in this, to be honest.
Yeah, there's more potential there. That they're like the real underdogs. Persona are the underdogs, but have plot armor.
Yeah, they're the fake underdogs. They're the imposters.
Yeah, so it's fun that we get a side quest that actually could pertain to the story. Chances are they'll just throw them away once they're done using them for filler, but whatever.
Yep. Brain fart. So here we see Takumi throwing his Phoenix Wing away. And yes, I said Phoenix Wing because if we zoom in all the way up here, that is not Phoenix Feather. Excuse me?
It disappeared.
That's not Phoenix Feather. That's Phoenix Wing. It's got the black bit and the dark red ratchet with the clear in it.
And it's a red blade.
And the red blade. That's Phoenix Wing, 100%. Kind of a weird animation error, but honestly, he had the world in his hands and he threw it away. I don't know why he did that. Why would you throw your Phoenix Wing away, man? That thing is like, it'll smoke Common.
I don't know. It's funny because, well, I guess this isn't really related, but I did my Black Dronzer video, and they animated Kai's Beyblade as Black Dronzer before he obtained it, which was pretty funny. Like, he was going into the facility to obtain it, but on his way there, his Beyblade was battling as Black Dronzer. And that was a cool animation thing, but obviously this is just a complete mistake. Like, that's not even going to come close to happening, but I was like, oh, this has happened before, but no, like, no, that's just a mistake.
Yeah, we will be nice to the animators, and we'll say that they were calling back to they were making a really subtle, in-depth callback to Black Dronzer being used before Kai actually got Black Dronzer.
Hmm.
We'll just say that they meant to do that, and it was a little nod to Plastic Gen. So before
Yeah.
anyone else looks too deep into it, what ends up happening is the manager dude shows up, and he is trying to stop Takumi from using Stone Mont Blanc. And he's like, if you do this, it's over. You're gonna lose, and then you're not gonna have a sponsor from us anymore or whatever. And it's very interesting that Taisho comes in and steps in. And I was initially very confused why Taisho was giving the initial speech, like kind of telling Takumi, like, "Hey, this is who you are. Why do you have to use this other Beyblade that was just given to you that everyone else has? Why throw away all that work and personality that you've put in for the past 10 years?" And I didn't know why it was Taisho doing that. It kind of seemed weird. It's like Taisho doesn't even really know this dude. Like, why is he like throwing this in? Well, I guess he does know him from observing, but what it ends up leading to is Taisho confronting the noodle store manager, who the noodle store manager is sponsoring Takumi, and he comes in and he's sort of like the voice of reason from the opposition, which it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool that like in even though Takumi is technically Taisho's opponent by proxy, Taisho's still willing to try and stick up for Takumi and try to get him to realize this is who you are. Why change like this? And of course, all the fans in the stands are like yeah, we missed Stone Mont Blanc. You should be yourself, man. We missed the other Takumi, even though they all hate him for breaking Beyblades with the Nutcracker. But either way, I guess modern day humans are a lot more fickle than previous years. But they're all cheering for Takumi, and he gives in, and he's like, you know what, screw it, I'm using Mont Blanc. I'm not gonna tie with Common over and over again. And I could go into it and conspirize that Taisho did this whole stunt just to get Takumi to use Stone Mont Blanc and definitively lose, but we'll give Taisho some credibility here for it.
Good man, Taisho.
Indeed, he's a good man. And Maiden kind of prevents him from popping off too hard, picks him up, and is like, "All right, little man, time to cool off a little bit."
Hmm.
But what's interesting is that I think they threatened to like call the police on the manager because he went up like in the middle of gameplay, and then like assaulted with heavy quotations. He basically just like put his hand on Takumi's shoulder, trying to prevent him from like you know using Mont Blanc, and then the officiator, I guess DJI, was like, "Hey, if you do this, we're calling the police on you, and it's assault and all
You're
that."
gonna get a penalty.
Yeah, and there's a penalty and all that, and then he backs off, and then we end up getting a very interesting battle. We get Drawn Sword versus Mont Blanc, and even though we knew the outcome of this battle was going to be Drawn Sword winning, um, it was still a decent battle. I enjoyed it. It wasn't too bad.
It was fun that the plot development was a little unpredictable. Like I didn't there was something about tying 3 times. I didn't really understand what that meant. That
I think I think that
Common
was
did that on purpose or something. I don't know.
I think what it was that Common, like purposely used Drawn Sword to exactly match, Phoenix Feather's power, because even though Drawn Sword is technically slower, because it's Common who's using it and he's top of the game, it's able to balance. He's able to balance it out against Takumi's Phoenix Feather skill. So he would just cause it to tie over and over again. The whole thing is like, his thing was like, I'm gonna keep using Drawn Sword until you change your mind, obviously, and use your own Beyblade instead of Phoenix Feather because it's not working out for you. So Common kind of, he's very, normally he's very excited to battle, but here he's very, placated, very emotional, or emotionless, sorry, and very stoic, I guess would be the word. Not showing a whole lot of, indifference, or he's very indifferent about it one way or the other. He's just going to keep using drawn sword no matter how long it takes. And it was it was pretty interesting. I don't know if that was intentional or not, and doing that kind of muddies it a little bit. I don't know if this was something that like Taisho and Common like brainwave together, because they're basically just they're perfect for each other, but they it was interesting to see that from Common and Taisho.
Yeah, Taisho, we actually didn't get any animated sushi, so the lore still goes deeper. Is it only within his sushi shop? Is the sushi sentient or whatnot? Because there wasn't even a face written on it at this tournament or at this
Yep.
match. So
Yeah.
Taisho might have held back his full power once he gets out of the four walls. But when he's in his sushi shop, he's got his damn sidekick up there. They're about to beat some ass.
Oh yeah, you know for a fact that sushi shop has got some magic in it that allows the sushi to come alive and
Like
all
Frosty the
that.
Snowman.
Yep, exactly. Uh, but it's yep. We got. It was nice to see them build Taisho out, and it come to think of it, it's like that's such a weird character pairing. Taisho versus or Taisho and Takumi sort of, or Taisho being able to build off Takumi and all that. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
it just kind of, it kind of speaks leagues to just how, like, not really that interesting the main cast is. Like, we love Common for his antics and all that. And, we love, Multi is great for, her personality and her, what she brings to the table. And then no one gives a crap about Bird for the most part. But then it's like when we talk about Taisho or Maiden or Team Zuganic or Team Yggdrasil or Team Phalanx, it's like it's very interesting, and it's that we actually kind of care more about every other character than the main ones that we're supposed to follow. And I hope that this is exclusive to season one. But it's just kind of interesting when you look at it like that.
Including the food. We care more about what type of sushi Taisho made, what's on his head. It's just I feel like they missed the mark quite a bit on the story progression on some of these characters. Like, we were hoping with 51 episodes we would get deep character development and it'd be more of an anime. But they just found 51 episodes and they're like, well, we'll make 51 episodes and half of them will be filler and there still will only be 21 episodes of content. And we're like, why? What? No, we would have been happy with 21 episodes if it was constant like development, but we don't like this fluff in between every every 3 episodes. It's like, what is this? We're supposed to be developing a character, going for a purpose, and then we just get derailed, and then we don't make it back on track. I don't think we still haven't made it back on track. It's been like
Yeah,
6 episodes.
yeah, we have pretty much just been on a filler train for a long ass time. I don't even remember what like the last manga based episode. I think the last manga based episode was
30
like
seconds.
Team Zuganic, was those battles. I think that was it. And we've just been on filler train for a long time. And to be honest, I don't even mind the filler because the episodes are better than the manga based ones. Because like all the manga based ones are predictable. I mean, yeah, it's like you read the manga, you know what to expect, but at the same time, it's like it still pisses you off because the way that the manga is going, it's not good either. And it's like when the filler comes in for the anime, like, you know what's going to happen in some scenarios, but you're able to appreciate the things that you don't expect, or the things that are not related to the main three characters. It's like Stone Mont Blanc here getting used instead of Phoenix Feather, and Bird, or not Bird, like the other teammates and their strategies and all that. It's like it gives such a more interesting take to the battles. It's like we get to see more variation with the filler, whereas in the anime, it just kind of continually frustrates everyone, or at least me and everyone else who read chapter 8, which Don't worry, Elliot. You are not missing anything. I envy you. I envy you. I'm not reading any more of the manga, by the way. I don't know if I said that or not for the record, but
No,
on the
uh,
record, no more manga for me.
no, that's funny. That was my original take. That I wasn't gonna read the manga. Skimmed a few chapters, stopped skimming the chapters, and then apparently it just got bad.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, so Takumi ends up losing to Drawn Sword. Um, I did we find a conclusion? Did they lose their sponsorship or anything? I don't think we really got a conclusion to that.
I don't know if we got like a definitive answer or anything, but um, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if he lost it. I bet he did. Um, I think he did lose it. Maybe I can't remember if he definitively did or not. But essentially, the sponsor came up to him after the battle and was like, "You really messed it up and everything," and he was obviously pissed. I don't know if he ended the sponsorship or whatever, but Takumi didn't care because he knew that even though he did lose, he gave it all that he had, and he was true to himself and his own skill, and he was proud of being able to say that he gave nothing less than 100%, which, as tried and true as it is for Beyblade, it's a trope that I don't mind seeing here, especially on a character like Takumi, where, it's like if we saw it on Bird, it's like, well, it doesn't matter because Bird has no skill anyways. He just learns something and then immediately forgets about it in his next battle. Whereas it's, Takumi's been battling for 10 years. He has a style. He has a very distinct presence, and obviously still Mont Blanc, and it's like he went to Phoenix Feather, and it just didn't really work out, and then he wasn't happy with it. But then when he did use his own bay, he was able to accept that he just wasn't good enough to be common, and that at the end of the day he gave it his all and everything. I think that's what's really admirable about him in this episode, and he doesn't care that his sponsor is pissed or whatever.
Yeah, this is like one of the first actual emotions that we've seen in this anime. Um, Everything else has just been fake for show, or it's just, oh, I lost a battle, wah, 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 build me a Beyblade. But this was like character development. There was a clear storyline in this episode, which wasn't predictable or even necessary. Like, they didn't need to do any of this, but it was one of the first times that they actually portrayed a character in a good light. They literally like turned his character around. Like, he was the bully on the playground, breaking people's bays. They met in the X Tower. They fought like men. He learned a valuable lesson that you have to stay true to yourself. People believe in you whether you notice it or not. And it's just like, oh wow, he actually turned out to be a really nice guy, and I hope we see more of him and that he actually becomes his own sponsor or something. I don't know if he makes his own team somehow, but
Or he gets
I
sponsored by Noozle 3D.
yeah, I just hate that they build him up just to throw him away if that's what they do.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, in the anime, I don't think they are going to throw him away like they did in the manga because they went this far into him. It's like, even if they don't really use him that much anymore, it's like, they did give him like a very nice arc. And it's like, he went through these multiple stages, and it's like he went through, defeating Bird and then getting defeated by Common. And then he faces off with them in the X Tower and loses again. And then he comes back with a Beyblade that's better than all of theirs. But at the end of the day, he's content being able to fight his own fights, even if he loses, because he gave it all that he had to offer, and rely on his own strength and power for it. And very classic moral to teach, and very admirable of him. So I do hope that we see him again. But even if we don't, I'm glad that we did get to see as much of him as we did. Certainly more than the manga can say.
There's a lot of cool characters that they just didn't portray. Like the bird's best friend, like literally just threw him away after the first episode,
Yeah.
due to the
Although
starry eyes or whatever.
they did come back, or didn't they come back at some point?
No, nope.
No.
Bird said, "I'm gonna go be a professional." And said, "You can do it."
Maybe I forgot what they showed, like a little extra thing that the manga didn't. Oh, I think it was that. I think it was the segment where it was episode 1 or 2 at the end of it where they came back before they left and they were like, "Hey, we saw your thing and all that. We hope you do well," and they wish him well before they
Oh,
ditch him.
oh
I
yeah.
think that was it.
I think there was like like a sunset scene where they like actually part ways. Yeah.
That was it. Yeah, they left on good terms, which they kind of really didn't in the manga. That's another fault of the manga. I know people defend it, and the manga is like it's written once a week, or not once a week. Sorry, the schedule that they have to do it is very tight, of course, and it was very tight. I don't know if they're writing it now and if the anime is coming out now, which I don't really. It's kind of hard to say exactly what the timeline of Beyblade X has been for the manga and the anime, and if they're separate from each other, if they're conjoined, or if they had like the story beats down and they're taking their own spins on it. But either way, if, whatever the case is, the anime is certain, in my opinion, doing better than the manga. I know some people think the manga is better than the anime, but in terms of the story quality, at least in my opinion, I think the anime is doing better at fleshing out the world and the characters that are in it and all that. Anything else for this episode, Elliot?
Nope. I just wish that they get back to the storyline soon and we actually find out what the hell is going on in this anime.
Yeah, with what's at the top of the tower? When are we gonna see Chrome actually start? When are we gonna see like Chrome battle? When are we gonna see the other member of Team Pendragon? I kind of forgot that there was a whole third member of Team Pendragon, and we don't know what the hell her Beyblade is.
What's the
And all
second
that.
member?
There's Chrome, Common, and then there's the third member.
But there's someone that replaced Common, right?
No,
No.
no,
So
we haven't
how's it?
seen.
It's just a two-person team right now.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, they're at the top. It's not like they're competing in the normal league
Hmm.
at the moment. So maybe they will have a replacement for Common.
Phalanx X Ryugu.
Oh, that'd be funny as hell. Imagine. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they hire Takumi to be the player, and he loses now.
He's the one
Yeah,
to build
it's
hype. He's their hype man.
yeah, pretty much. But yeah, like Elliot said, we really want to figure out what the hell is going on with the anime. Like, what's the end goal? Where are we trying to get? Are we just trying to get to the top of the X Tower? Are we trying to fight Chrome? Is there going to be any kind of like struggle that we have to face? I know that I'm boycotting the manga. Elliot, I doubt you're going to read the manga again. But yeah, it's going to be interesting from now forward, or I guess moving forward in general, to be able to experience most things raw. Fortunately, Elliot will get to see the Yggdrasil battle for the first time in the anime, and I hope they change it up from what they did. But either way, next episode of the anime looks like it's going to be interesting. It's another filler episode. And this we also get to see Burn at the end of the main episode, and we get more teasing Phoenix Wing. I'm sorry they keep teasing Phoenix Wing, and they never show it, except when Takumi threw it away, but whatever. But hopefully we get to see it soon.
Mhm.
But in the next episode, we get a very interesting thing here. We see, if I just move my cam out of the way, we can see Bird's got bunny ears on, which Elliot mentioned way earlier in the episode. And then Togaru's also chasing after him. And what's very interesting is it looks like this episode is going to be we're going to get to see Team Zuganic again. So I am so excited about that. Speaking of, like seeing characters reappearing and recurring, we get to see Team Zuganic again, and I'm so beyond excited because Team Zuganic was so awesome. I love their dynamic, and after they left the X Tower after their battle against Team Persona, it was all like very nice and whatnot. We mentioned that we'd like to see him again, so we are getting that, which is great. And it looks like they're going to do some like either they are going to like help train Team Persona, or rather, I guess Bird from what we saw. And then they're going to do some battles together and something regarding Phoenix Feather and whatnot. So it looks like we're going to get a little more, like Phoenix Feather lore. We're in like the Phoenix arc right now. So that's going to be, we get like a joint effort from Zuganic and Persona to make a stand or defeat him or whatever. But it looks like it'll be a fun episode.
That's funny. You mentioned the Phoenix arc, and I'm like, I don't even think we finished an arc yet, and they just kind of started an arc midway.
I th- I think I think we kind of did. I think once we got past Suganic, I think that ended like the first arc of the
Mm.
anime. It's sort of like the I don't know the early days arc or whatever, and then we got into like
Uh,
the Phoenix arc, and we get like built up for Phoenix Wing and Yggdrasil and whatnot. So maybe that'll just be the Yggdrasil arc, I guess, or whatever. But that'll be interesting to see come to a conclusion, and then what we get to see after Yggdrasil. So I am definitely hyped to see what goes on once we get past Team Yggdrasil. But I guess for now, I guess we're we gotta live with a bunch of filler episodes, and yeah, I'm actually kind of excited to see what happens now that I've completely decided to skip the manga. It is it's gonna be fun actually not knowing what happens later on. So when the manga finishes for this season, and after we go back and we watch the dub and we give like a ranking for all the stuff that happens in this season, yeah, we'll take a look at that. But pretty excited for episode 21 of the Beyblade X anime, which we'll be talking about next week after it comes out, and that is pretty much it for the anime episode.
anything else you want to say about the anime, Metal? We left off on a pretty good note. We got some optimism still, but anything you want to say about the anime?
Oh yeah, it looks like the anime is with the filler episodes coming out, it's all right. Not too bad. Better than the manga for sure. I'm certainly excited to see how the Yggdrasil arc ends, and then after that, who knows what's going to happen. We haven't seen the manga, so we don't know, and I think that's what makes it more exciting for us. So, we'll just leave it up to fate to see what comes out, and hopefully that'll make our commentary a little bit better. But all in all, not too bad. Pretty satisfied with that. So we ended up recording quite long, so we're splitting this up. Be sure to check out our UX talk, which I think probably same day.
So yep, within a few days for sure.
Yep.
So
So
yep, prepare for that. We enjoy some double uploads here and there. Keep you guys on your toes.
indeed.
Yes. So that is it for episode 18 of the Beyblade X anime. That was the episode. Thank you guys for watching. Blade Dragons out.